is a hole in the world, but there's always a hole in the world. As Joseph Campbell says, the world is perfect. It's a mess. It's always been a mess, and we're not going to change it. The only thing we can do is straighten out our own lives. And that's why we're here, to straighten out our own lives. That's doing our part to manifest this vision we hold, because we can straighten out our lives, and it's a lot of work. You don't get your life straightened out. It's not only this lifetime's process. We carry this journey after journey and journey until we get that place we know is there for all of us, the place of wholeness and unity and oneness. Now, this hole in the world, now you may be looking at holes in yourself right now, and some of us are quite holy. I know that from experience, quite holy. But when you look at these holes, what do you see? Do you see flaws and problems and difficulties? Or do you see possibilities and something more wanting to show through? It's up to us what we see. And that depends, as the title of the talk today, are we seeing with our physical eyes? Now, the world teaches us to judge by appearances, right? To make instant conclusions, to live on the surface. But that's not how we're designed. We're designed as a work in progress, but we're designed to see with the eyes of the soul, to build that connection between our humanity and divinity, as Jesus did so perfectly, to not see the problems, but see the miracles that are waiting to be born and expressed. Challengers are part of this experience. Now, I said Joseph Campbell said the world is a mess, but he also said every process involves breaking up. Things have to break apart in order to be reborn. And we live for the experience of life, not just the good times, but we live for it all. And our job, our work here, is to unite that mind, because our human eyes don't really see. It's the mind that interprets the visions brought in. The mind interprets it. So we've got to change our thinking, change our life, as Ernest Holmes said. Adjust your mind to see what you're seeing. And we have that power to bring in the spiritual, the sacredness, the understanding, the compassion, the goodness that wants to be brought out of things. What is mine to learn? What is mine to know? How am I to grow? We know all those questions. Now, yes, the mind teaches us to see things in a limited way because that's how the mind learns. The mind thinks in paradox. It thinks in contrast, black, white, good, bad, yes, no. That's how we make meaning out of things on the physical level. The soul thinks from the unity and the wholeness, and it knows that everything is an expression of spirit and life. That's what it knows. We want to connect the two. We don't want to abandon our humanity because that's what gives us the touchy-feelies and the love and the experiences here that we get to feel and know. But we want to integrate that and meld that with our spirituality and our divinity. There's that place in us that the soul knows, that divine spark in us that needs to be awakened. And that happens from our learning and our growth and the possibilities. Now, this is interesting. I woke up this morning thinking about this. We've got to sort out what we're looking at and what we're seeing. Stories, so many of us, and oh my gosh, I've lived there. I can just, remember this, where we meld our story into our being and we become our story. Does anybody know that? The story of limitation and not enoughness or blame and anything else. We live there. And that becomes who we are, and we talk about it all the time. And oh my God, I can remember boring myself so many times talking about my story because I hadn't understood it at a deeper level. When we were in San Juan, and we had our center down in San Juan Capistrano, many of you know her or know of her work. Byron Katie. Do you know Byron Katie, who does the work? She came to the center. And boy, she is relentless. She only has 4 questions she asks people. She goes, tell me your story. And, wham. Well, I remember there was one young man who stood up, and he was brave enough, probably in his 20s, early 20s. And he was telling the story of the horrible life he'd had. And we can all relate to that and empathize, and that's what compassion is. But she knows, Byron Katie knows from her own experiences of just the desperation and the tragedy of her life and being there, how we have to lift ourselves out of it. And she boiled it down. She said, we need to be able to do this simply. Doesn't mean it's easy, but it's simple. The first question she asked, oh, is this true? Oh, we hold on to it's true. This is so true. It is true, true, true. And she asked the second question, is it really true? Well, I think it's true. And then here's the question. The last 2 are so poignant and so transformational. She says, how do you react when you believe that thought? What are the feelings and emotions that come out when you believe that story is who you are? Instead of recognizing and realizing it's an experience, our stories are not solid, they're fluid. Ernest Holmes says we live in a liquid universe. The only constant is change. But we hold on so tight to keep things, that's me, that's who I am. No, you're so much more. So you have to admit, first of all, what's coming up when I make myself that story, when I think that thought? And the last question, who would you be without that thought? Who would we be right now if we chose to know that we are truly divine beings in a human experience, as Mary said so beautifully this morning? We're having a human experience. What a gift it is. But it's painful too. What if we could realize we are so much more than this story or this situation or this thing? If we look at the whole that we gaze at and blame and everything else and say, oh, there's a possibility in there somewhere that wants me to step into something more, to step into a greater thought about things, to be open for inspiration instead of closed down in the problem and the negativity and the fault and the fear and the worry. When we tap into that soul space, we can put fear and worry, which are true human emotions and feelings. And as Rumi said, we have all these feelings and emotions that come in every morning. We need to bless them and say thank you for being here. But there's the door, and we need to put fear and worry in the right place. And the right place is being held in spiritual possibility and wonder. Jesus said, you must seek first things first. You must seek first things first, and then everything else will be added. What is the first thing? Our first thing is our relationship with God, our relationship with love, our relationship with one another, our relationship with goodness and possibility and greater understanding. That's what we relate to first. And then everything else will be added. But we got to do that work. Ernest Holmes says we are an inlet and an outlet to God. An inlet and an outlet to God. That's what we are. We wouldn't be here if God's Spirit didn't need us. We are the way the divine expresses ourselves. We are here as an outpicturing of Spirit. We are needed here. We need to change the way we think about ourselves. But that inlet and outlet, and I do this all the time because it's what I do for myself. First and foremost, we need to put one hand in the hand of Spirit, to know that there's something more, there's something guiding us, there's an inspiration that's to be had in this moment, there's a greater possibility that wants to be known. We need to put our hand there first, and then to be the outlet, and to reach out to humanity, to each other. We can't cut ourselves off. We need to reach there. It was Ernest Holmes who said, teach and practice and teach. That's all we have, that's all we're good for, that's all we ever ought to do. For me, the practice is practice building that relationship to Spirit, to God, to love, and going out and, like we're doing with the virtue, we're honoring that in others and in ourselves. Or know that we are learners and teachers, and that's what we are here to do. That's what we're here to practice. We need to be able to have the courage to sit and be still and reprogram the stories that keep running through our minds. We have to have, it takes a lot of work. Does anybody have a story they're not trying to reprogram right now? If so, get up here, please, because they just keep happening, you know, because that's the life lesson we're here for. It's not a bad thing, it's a good thing. But we need to remember why we're here and what we're here to be doing. We're here to realize that when we look from the outside, we find separation. When we look from the inside, we see unity and oneness, and we belong to each other. Meister Eckhart said, "The eye with which I see God is the same eye with which God sees me." The only place you can know that and feel that is right here. That there's a oneness and a unity that's happening. There's something that we need to be building and encouraging and creating. We need to get a little bigger than the limited self. You know, so often when the physical eye looks at ourself, we see we're really harsh on ourselves. We put expectations on ourselves we don't put on other people usually. We see where we're not enough, where we're not good enough, where there isn't enough. We need to realize, let that go. We all have divine DNA. We're all made in the image and likeness of God in our own unique way. I said last week, which I still mean this week, today it is true. I forget. Today it is true, you are youer than you. No one alive. Well, it's not. Today it is true. I can't remember, but it's Dr. Seuss. But no one is youer than you. No one. We are here with an individual experience that is important to life. We're important. We matter. We make a difference. But we got to do the work. So when we see that whole, we don't see everything that's wrong, but we say, what could be better? What could be more? I've read this poem before, but I'm going to read it again today because seeing with the eyes of the soul means we need to stretch. We need to stretch beyond those solid stories we've made up. And we need to lighten up and open up and reach beyond. And this is a poem from David White. And he says, just beyond yourself. And what he's talking about here is loosening the boundaries of your comfort zones. Loosen the boundaries of the stories you've made up so you can become something more. He says, just beyond yourself, that's where you need to be. Just beyond yourself, that's where you need to be. Half a step into self-forgetting and the rest restored by what you'll meet. Half a step into self-forgetting and the rest restored by what you meet. There is a road always beckoning, when the two sides of it closing together at the far distance, when things come together in that place of unity and oneness and understanding that we can see glimpses of, this is me, not David, but see glimpses of, we know it's there. We may not be able to touch it right yet, but we know it's there. We know it's the possibility we're working toward. When the two sides of it are closing together at that far horizon, that's when we're reaching up, and the deep foundation of our own heart meet at exactly the same time. That's how you know. That's how you know it's the road you have to follow. Step out of yourself just a little tiny bit, not too much, because we love you. Not exactly the way you are. No, I'm kidding. We love you just I didn't get a response from that, but we love you just the way you are. And we know for all of us there's something more. We have to love everyone just the way they are, because everybody right now in this moment is doing the best they can with the tools they have at the moment. We know that. But we also know there's something more. And so, when these two meet at exactly that same time, at exactly the same time, that's how you know that that's the road you have to follow. That's how you know it's where you have to go, to that something more. That's how you know where you have to go. Just beyond yourself is where you need to be. The soul knows about unity within us, with God and each other. The soul knows that life is sacred, and so are we. The soul knows that. The soul also knows that we are each a part of each other, and we need to really focus on the unity and not the division, the unity. Henry, I didn't look up his pronunciation. I have before, Catholic priest, so if I say it wrong, please correct me. Henry Nouwen, thank you. Henry Nouwen said, only when we have the courage to cross the road, only when we have the courage to cross the road and look in one another's eyes can we see there that we are children of the same God and members of the same human family. The Mayans say, I am another one of yourself. I am another one of yourself. Thich Nhat Hanh said, I support you, you support me. I am in this world to offer you peace, and you in this world are to bring me joy. That's what we're here for, and that's what we're meant to do. Life is a spiral, an evolutionary process upward. I'm not saying that any of this is easy, but I know that we have what we need to do it. We need faith and courage, which we find from soul seeing. When we put the fear and the worry and the separation and the judgment in its place and find the faith and the courage to live in grace, to live in love, to live in peace, to live in harmony, to live in abundance, to live in joy, then we can feel the satisfaction of being on the right road to God's goodness. Please join me right now in a moment of prayer. When we put our feet on the ground and feel the beauty of this earth, feel the importance of this earth, knowing that under our feet there's so much more, a bigger story going on, that the flowers grow because of their root systems, because of the nutrients, because of the water they receive that we don't even see. The flowers bloom because of the sun that shines, that we don't know the gifts that the flower is receiving in this moment. That's all this earth has to give. The mountains, the streams, the people, the whole part of earth that belongs to us, and we have a beautiful place right here on this earth. And as we open up and let that goodness, that light, that life move through us, we expand into greater awareness that right where we are, there is that something that we cannot see, that takes the faith in something greater, to see and know that which is invisible, to know the power and presence of God's love that we can only feel, that is only felt in the heart, that we know that because we open ourselves, we move just beyond ourselves to that place of just beyond, that we can open up to the something more. I know we have that faith to see through that hole in the world and see the possibilities that are waiting to be expressed, the possibilities that want to be known, and the connections that are calling to be made. We see that, we know it, how good it is to be alive. In this moment, we say, thank you, God, for this experience of living, for this life that we've been given. We choose in this moment to be awake, to be open, to be understanding. And in this moment, we feel the goodness of life flowing through us. We allow us in this moment to let that goodness that flows through us touch every person here in this room, and to move beyond this room and touch our families, our friends, our acquaintances, our colleagues. And we let that goodness, that light, that love move beyond that and to surround this world in a place and space of new possibilities, where we see from that higher perspective that we are all here together on this planet at the same time, not by accident, but by a perfect reason, that we are here to live the vision of a world coming together and working for all. How blessed we are, how good it is to be alive. We say, thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. And so it is. And just repeat after me. I have the faith. Say it louder. I have the faith. I have the courage to be my best self, to do the work and feel good. And so it is. I love you all. Thank you, thank you, thank you.